Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Connor, and I'm the owner of Gemhammer & Sons. I apologize for taking so long to get this video together. Like I posted the other day, my computer decided that 100% of the CPU is now required to play Streamlabs. So we're going to do this with my phone, and I'm going to use the robust editing power of iMovie. I might pay for Premiere and After Effects, but I'm using iMovie because it will get this done faster. So we're going to take a look at the cards. The version of the cards that I have here with me just off screen that you'll see in just a second are from a playtest that we did a little while ago. They're slightly different than the cards that will be put into production, but I wasn't going to have a set of those printed just to show for like a couple months and then completely print a different set. So I'm going to be able to go through the cards, what they look like, how they work, how I use them, how they're intended to be used. And I'm going to switch cameras here in just a second so you see what I'm talking about. And here we go. This is the deck. This is essentially how it's going to be when you take it out of the box. This card is a little bit different on the final version. There's also a card. Actually, no, it's now the back of this card that explains some of the little symbols and things. Here, let me. I'm trying to. This lens is my phone on a little mount, and I'm seeing this on a completely different monitor, which is slightly behind me, because this is not how I intended to do this, but we're doing it. We're doing it live. So, sorry for I'm like, oh, what's going on over here? It's because I keep turning to look to see where my hand is, and then I'm like trying to like, where am I? What is happening? So this card is a little bit different. This was just, like I said, for the playtest, just kind of says you start in this 40 by 40 room with a single door, and it sort of like starts you off in the dungeon. Then again, on the back, there'll be one that explains some of these symbols and what they mean. The one we've been getting, or the ones I should say, we've been getting a lot of questions about, and in the update that I'm going to post for this video, I'm going to make sure to put the images of the other class cards. These are the class cards. Getting a lot of questions about these. Sorry, it's been a long day. This is the end of my day. This is like 5:40 at night for me. Not like super late, but it's been a long day. So sorry. So what was I saying? These are the character cards that everyone's been asking about for the last couple days, and so I will make sure to post images of the other character cards that we have lined up for Decademic Dungeons 2, which last I checked, we're getting pretty close to. I haven't checked on it in a little bit. I was trying to set this up and do some other things, so I might have missed that. Who knows? For all I know, we're already there. But there are also other classes. We're going to have one for every class, which I answered in a comment earlier today. But just in case anyone else was wondering, that'll be the case. So here we have a halfling rogue, and Amanda Call is the illustrator for these characters, and she did a fantastic job. I absolutely love these. The art here will look slightly different on the final ones. You can see there's like some almost like gray pixelation on these, and it's because I put them in here wrong, in the wrong format. So for these ones, they're a little bit off, but you have a little character sheet, and it's a abbreviated like level 1 character sheet with all your actions, your hit points, your speed, your stats. It is very small for like the features. Those of you who need reading glasses or just have trouble reading small text in general probably won't love these as much, but that's okay. They're sort of like for on the go. And also, what I said in the comments asking about them, I will have pre-gens available. This artwork here is actually adapted from a character sheet that we made for some other pre-gens for shows and things. So it's gonna be very one-to-one, a full character sheet versus the abbreviated cards. We have Human Wizard. We have Dwarf Fighter. And Elf? Elf Cleric. Bam. So we get your classic party composition here with the base deck, and then we'll move on to the other classes as we go. Now, as for the dungeon cards themselves, this is a perfect example of a card in the deck. Some people were under the impression that each of these would have a picture of a room. That is actually not the case because I don't know how, like, they wouldn't scale very well. And I have seen that some people have decks that have, like, images of rooms at certain scales and describe them. These are more encounters. These are encounters. They are for random encounter generation of a dungeon. I do like the idea that I can put these down and, like, sort of lay them out on a table as a dungeon and, like, have them be the rooms. And if I could have thought a little bit more about this before I started doing it, I'd have grabbed some miniatures that were closer than this. But yeah, you can get you guys right on there so you can kind of keep track of where everyone is in the dungeon. Now, this is actually, I think, a little bit better for solo play because people that play solo D&D, and I know you are a small community of people compared to the larger D&D community, but this is great for you because you don't know what's coming. And I know you can use tables for that, but you can lay out a whole spread with these and flip them over and go through. And I flip this over, and I'm, like, down here off screen. Again, I'm trying to keep track of this on a monitor that is not up here, so I apologize every time I am suddenly off camera trying to show you something that simply isn't there. So we're going to go back this guy just for a second. So Crab Tank here is a excellent example of what a room looks like in the dungeon. You can see it describes the room. Every room has a name, and then there's oftentimes a little symbol, and the symbols have different meanings. And again, there'll be a card that sort of explains what those are. This room contains a 45-foot by 45-foot pool of water that is 30 foot deep. At the bottom of the pool are 6 giant crabs, surrounded by a smaller ornate chest on a pedestal. The crabs will attack any creature that enters the pool. And you can see that giant crabs is bold, so you know that that is a creature. Very much the same styling that you would expect from an encounter in an adventure module. It explains that the size of the room is 50 feet by 50 feet, so that means there's like a 5-foot strip around the outside edge of this pool of water that is 30 feet deep. And for completing this encounter, you could loot a trident schematic. And you're probably like, what is that? Well, there's a card somewhere in the deck that has a blacksmith who will make weapons for your dungeon crawling adventurers, provided that they bring them schematics. And there's a lot of, and this is not that one. This is a different NPC card, if you will. You'll see it doesn't have that skull. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go back because I didn't explain that. The skull is one of our symbols, and that means that this is a potential combat encounter. And the one skull means that is CR 0 to CR 5. 2 skulls is 6 to 10. 3 is 11 to 15, and then 16 plus for the 4 skulls. Sorry, 16 to 20 for 4 skulls, and then the ones that have your dragon skull on it, that is going to be your 20 plus. The ones that don't have, yeah, we did. Are we good? We're good. Okay. So for the ones that don't have a symbol on it at all, these are just like an NPC encounter, and they are bolded as a commoner. So if you were, you have a particularly egregious group of murder hobos that decide they're going to kill everything, I guess that could happen, but that is really not the intent. So this is a 25-foot cube. This is a little market, and they can buy a potion of healing for 100 gold pieces. They can buy a backpack. They can buy a torch. And there's lots of cards like this. One called the Goblin Market. There's a blacksmith, like I said. There's a bunch of these different sort of cards that have these people that you can talk to. You can trade with them. There's a lot of creatures that drop they're basically trade goods, not SRD trade goods, but like pelts and furs and things. And then there are NPC cards similar to this. Oh, wow, that was loud. I don't know if that got picked up by the camera, but something just alerted me and I didn't like it. Right in my ear. So, man, that just threw me. Cards. Yeah, so they like pelts and things that you could trade or barter with NPCs to get various things. And it does describe, this one's Percival. You discover a small shop run by a friendly gnome commoner named Percival. He's selling the following. Which I already said. Percival will also buy equipment at 1/2 its selling price. You also sell a random magic item appropriate to the player character at its maximum value once per day. Yeah. Other types of rooms include an empty room. This room is empty. You find nothing of interest here. It's a 10 by 10 room. The room is empty. Was that not clear? And I feel like those of you who are familiar with our products got a nice little chuckle out of this and was expecting that there's something along these lines somewhere in here. For those of you less familiar with the stuff that we make, we like to have fun, and there's definitely a lot of. I mean, the whole deck isn't funny, wackadoo cards, but there's definitely I can't help myself. I have to. I have to. So there's definitely some stuff like that in here. So be prepared for that. The living room. Gosh, I love this one. This is a well-furnished room, contains 2 comfortable chairs sitting on top of a plush rug. The chairs are mimics, and the rug is a rug of smothering. On the far side of the room is a wooden chest, and inside the wooden chest is 25 gold pieces, glamored, studded leather armor. This is a cube room. This room is a 15-foot cube. Appears to be empty. Hovering in the center of the room is an ornate shield. The room is completely filled with a gelatinous cube. Perfect. Now, red herring. I had some cards, and so I'm sort of thrown because I had stacked the deck, and apparently I didn't believe strong enough in the heart of the cards, and I am now drawing cards that I could have sworn I had stacked. So this is happening. No, we're just off the rails. Did I stack them the wrong way? That would be ridiculous of me, and that's exactly what I did. I put them on the bottom like a big old dum-dum. And that's okay. So there are other cards besides the NPC rooms and the encounter rooms. So there are traps, and here we have a trap card. You activate my trap card. Again, also kind of a joke, but there are plenty of traps that are not jokes. That they are actual mechanical encounters. Now this one does have an error in it. It's because we were deciding whether this should be necrotic or poisoned. So when we did this print version, it was 3d12. Something. It just says deals 3d12 to each creature. It should say 3d12. I think we decided on psychic damage to each creature in the room. Again, that Yu-Gi-Oh reference. But again, these are from a much earlier playtest, and again, we have an enhancing schematic. So this would be a schematic that would add +3 to a weapon, as opposed to creating a weapon from scratch. But all that will be explained on the cards that give you the ability to make those. So if you get a schematic, your players will have to go to that place in the dungeon and do that. So in that way, but through the loot and things that you find on creatures, there is a very subtle story sort of woven in through here, where you can go in these little side quests to get these schematics and then return them to get cool items. There are rooms that specifically require certain things to have been collected from certain rooms and then brought back, NPCs that need specific loot from specific creatures, etc. So when I say it's a campaign in your pocket, it really is, in a lot of ways, a campaign. A big mega dungeon for you to explore. There are also these cards. These are our favorite ones: the Pinata Room and the Mystery Box, that have their own symbols that do not really mean anything in particular in terms of the larger rules of the deck and how we intend you to use it. They're also just a bit of fun. So this one, we have our lovely Pinata silhouette, and this one, there's actually. I don't want to give that away, so I'm going to move on. So instead of this room hangs a brightly colored pinata depicting a llama. A small brightly colored club leans against the wall. The pinata has 25 AC. It's a pinata, and when you reduce it to 0 hit points, it breaks open, and a ton of gold pours out. And the rewards are the golds. They're gemstones, I guess, and a club. And this is just fun. I just love this. And then the mystery box in the center of the room is a small brown mystery box. Is printed on it and roll on the table. And you're like, oh, roll on the table for these cool magic items. No, there's socks and yellow hair ribbon, stale lollipops, +1 letter opener, bag of holding. Not a bag of holding. Angry swarm of bees. It's, and again, not every I've definitely, because I am the way that I am, have picked some cards that are jokey, silly, fun, but there are plenty of these other ones like this room that fills with sand, and it's an hourglass, or a giant wolf spider den, or, okay, actually, this is also a ridiculous, funny card. This is The Room, a cult fanatic with a, let's say, interesting accent loudly proclaims, "I did not hit her. I did not." And the loot is a scroll of Hunter's Mark. 10 points for anyone that gets that. Anyway, Undead Room, there's uh, dozens of corpses in various states of decay. Any creature that touches the room becomes cursed with mummy rot. Oh, and a phylactery key, and that's one of those. That's one of those little pieces of loot that sort of works into the larger story that's sort of hidden in here. Tomb of the Night. These are just rooms in a dungeon with various encounters, fire pit. So yeah, they're not all jokey, wacky. Engine room is a good one. This one is a more of a skill check. It's not so much that it's a combat encounter, but the idea is that you shuffle, like if you would shuffle the deck and sort of like transport them to a random room and sort of go from there. So if you were laying out the dungeon and sort of keeping track of it. So I sort of skipped way past this. I think the best way to use them is either you're a DM and you have them behind the screen and you're flipping them at random, right? Or I guess, and you either keep them with you, or what I like to do is I think that laying them out after the combat is resolved, because you don't want to give away stuff that's in the cards. And I think that laying them out after they've been resolved is really great. I also do like, especially for solo players, just building out your dungeon this way. But even as a DM, if you like don't want to give anything away, and you're concerned about sort of the metagamey, like I know it's written on there, you just keep them in your hand, like with a lot of our other cards, like that you can just hold on to. If you feel like the stuff on here, you don't want them to know that it's actually that the rabbit is definitely a Monty Python reference and a danger to them, then don't show it to them. There's a lot of different ways to use these cards. I enjoy all of them. Even just as a random encounter deck, even if you never choose to use this as like a campaign on playing cards, just like you're in a dungeon and you need to stall for a week because Bill didn't show up even though you were in the middle of a dungeon. So now you're down a guy and you just got to stall for a week. Well, now we're at the market. Wait, what? Did I already draw the market? Well, now did the undead room with. Are there duplicates in here? Probably. This is from the playtest. Anyway. Again, the final project, so subject to change. Anyway. So yeah. That is all of the bullet points I really had to go over. These are a lot of fun. I had a great time with these folks at Gen Con. Got a lot of good feedback from them. They seem to like it. I think I posted about how a gentleman was telling us how they played an impromptu D&D game in the line of something. There's lines everywhere. I don't remember what it was they were talking about they were waiting to do. Merchant's Campsite. Nice. Anyway, and yeah, so I'll get this posted so you guys can all see it. If you have any other questions about the cards or what we're doing with them, or questions about how I'm using them, feel free to ask in the comments on the update or just on the main page. Main page is a little bit better because I think that people that are a little on the fence about picking these up, they like to see that. They like to see all that stuff. So if you get questions, I'd love it if you'd post them there. But if you have the questions, please hit me with them. I'll also make sure to include some of the artwork that Amanda's working on, and it's wonderful. I've actually started to build that update already, and I'm like turned most of the way around. And I actually already have the pictures in there, and they look so good, and I think you guys are gonna like them too. And if you're curious, like, oh, what is he talking about? Just scroll down, because if you're watching this video in the update on Kickstarter, then it's on your screen. Scroll down, like right now. Um, I wish I had like cardistry skills, so I could be like, ooh, and like doing cool stuff. Sadly, that is not in my particular skill set. I should learn though. I should learn, given how much of this chosen profession of mine is built around handling cards and decks of cards. Um, but yeah, Dynamic Dungeons coming soon. Hit me up with questions, comments, anything you got. I'm excited. We're doing really well. We haven't had a Kickstarter in like 4 years, and we've sort of been in the weeds on Roblox for so long. It's good to sort of get back to something simple. I'm really excited about this, and I hope you guys are too. And yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go.